Start out.
Alright, look like we're live. It look like we're live. It look like we live.
Kind.
I'm glad it worked. That's
Where's
what's
your
up.
phone? Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a
Grab one after
precept.
you.
I was finna say you should grab one after me. That's the spirit. All right. This is Sirach chapter 20, verse 31. It says, "Better is he that hideth his folly than a man that hideth his wisdom. Better is he that hideth his folly than a man that hideth his wisdom." So if you hide your folly and if you hold in your folly, you're a man that's better. That's better than holding in wisdom. You don't want to be the man that's holding wisdom and you kind of locking wisdom up and you kind of bury it like that one brother did in the gospels as the parable, master, I took your talent, which going into wisdom, knowledge, understanding, I kind of buried it, I kind of hid it. I never went out to the highways and byways and taught my people. I never kind of put my brothers on game about this, that, and the third. I kind of just held my own wisdom in because I thought you would want it back. I didn't give it to nobody, you know. I didn't give this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to nobody because you gave it to me. So I decided to keep it. That's not what that's going into, man. That's
Shaky.
not what that's going into at all. That ain't gonna cut it. You got it, Doc.
God, that's real shaky. I got one in Proverbs, the 16th chapter, the 7th verse. Proverbs 16 and 7 says, "When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him." So whenever your ways please the Lord, he makes your enemies be at peace with you. There's no way you can break that down simpler. Same what it's saying. It's on you.
God. Fuck you. Correct. 21:10. The way of sinners is made plain with stones, but at the end thereof is the pit to hell. Slakia, the pit of hell. So kind. The way of sinners is made plain with stones. It's an easy route, easy, smooth route to be a sinner. But your destination and the way that you're going is going to lead to everlasting destruction, damnation, so on and so forth. It's going to lead to fire. It's going to lead to hell. It's going to lead to your destruction. You know, even though it is an easy route to take, the easy way is not always the right way, nor is the right way the easy way. Vice versa. You know. You got something? You got precept?
Captain DeBar, you got anything?
Lie, go ahead.
God, Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17 says, "A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." A friend loveth at all times. It's a scripture. It might be the 18th chapter. Basically, it says a friend is supposed to show himself friendly, but a friend loveth at all times. I mean, he got your back whenever you prospering. He got your back whenever the Lord bring you to a lower state. He got your back whenever you slipping. He got your back at all times. It says, and a brother is born for adversity. And real brothers, they really stick together whenever tough times come. That's how you figure out if somebody is really your friend, if he's really your brother. He's born for adversity. That's what being a brother is really about.
Kind. It's Sirach chapter 21, verse 25. The lips of talkers will be telling such things as pertain not unto them, but the words of such as have understanding are weighed in the balance. So the lips of talkers, these men and women, they're so-called gossipers or talebearers. They're going to be talking and speaking about things that doesn't even pertain to them. The Bible is timeless. The people have been this way for generations and for generations. This is a quick cut to show that regeneration is real. The same talebearers there was back during the time of Sirach, it's the same talebearers there are now. But I'm gonna get verse 26. It says, "The heart of fools is in their mouth, but the mouth of the wise is in their heart." What is that going into? When we know and we understand that the heart is the mind, so it says that the mind of fools is in their mouth. So anything they think, they're just gonna automatically say it. You know, well, damn, brother, this, that, and the third. Well, brother, this, that, and they just gonna say it. Anything that comes to their mind, anything that they think about, they're automatically just gonna start talking about it. But it says, but the mouth of the wise is in their heart. A wise man is going to meditate on what he's going to say. He's talking to himself in his head. Like, damn, well, if I say this, then this is going to happen. If I say that, that's going to happen. I kind of got to figure out, a quick way to say this with wisdom, this, that, and the third. It might not even be a perfect time for me to talk, you know. Whereas a foolish man, as soon as it comes to his mind, he's going to blurt it out and he's going to speak on it. But that's all I got. It's on you.
All right, Con, I got one more. So like, yeah, I just dropped it, unfortunately. All right, Proverbs 13 and 20. It says, "He that walketh with wise man shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." Like Captain DeBar always say, if you're around 6 crackheads, you're gonna be the 7th. If you're around 6 righteous and virtuous women, you're gonna be the 7th. If you're around 6 righteous and virtuous men, you're gonna be the 7th. Right? So if you walk with wise men, you're gonna be wise. But if you always around fools, you're gonna be a fool too. And it's ultimately gonna get you killed. All right, man. Lord willing, y'all spirits a little warmed up like ours is. That's why we jumped through a few proverbs, a few wise sayings, to kill time, wait for people to come into the chat, and not to be idle, and to warm up y'all spirits, man. So we're gonna kind of jump into it. The title of the lesson is "A Prison Without Bars." A prison without iron bars, right? So before we jump into it, I love grabbing this precept in Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees, chapter 5, I believe, 5 and 26. 2nd Maccabees 5 and 26 says, "And so he slew all them that were gone to the celebrating of the Sabbath, and running through the city with weapons slew great multitudes." The point of this scripture is that our forefathers celebrated the Sabbath. Like Officer Tahawan faithfully saying, it's not that I have to keep the Sabbath, it's that I get to keep the Sabbath. So all praises to the Most High God for allowing us to keep the Sabbath, making the Sabbath for us. Matthew chapter 12, it tells you that man was not made for the Sabbath was made for man, right? So the Sabbath was made for us to give us some peace, to give us some rest, for us to really just get into the spirit, man. So it's a feast day. We finna eat a little bit. Woo, let's go. You got anything for I open up?
Wow.
God. First and foremost, all praises, all honor, and all glory go to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushua. Like we already said and stated, the title of this video is "A Prison Without Iron Bars." And we're gonna cover a few things in this lesson. Wherever the Spirit takes us, that's where we're gonna go. The book of Thessalonians will tell you quench not the Spirit. So we definitely do our lessons off the Spirit as much as it be possible. So we're gonna kick it off with the first precept that we got in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, and verse 16.
I'm here.
Bring that up.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 and verse 16. "So then, whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in a prison without iron bars."
Man, right here it says, "Whosoever fell down was straitly kept, shut up in the prison without iron bars." What is a prison without iron bars? What is that talking about? What is we really going to go into? Can you give me
DeBar, mute your mic. What?
Can you give me the definition of prison? It can be in a blue letter or on Google. I don't care how you get it. Well, I'll
God.
sort of. You can bring it up.
Prison, prison. Um, if you want the old way of using prison, it means the laying hold of, or if you want the new version, it means a building in which people are legally held as a punishment for a crime they have committed or while awaiting trial.
So the word prison is a common word and just about everywhere right now. You had prisons back then. Paul was cast into prison. Prisons is the normal thing, but a prison without iron bars, what does that look like? What is that going into? Ultimately, prison is used to put somebody in captivity, to bind someone, like the definition said. It said for punishment or correction. So an iron bar, putting somebody in a physical prison, is used as a punishment, whether it's for the rest of your life or a correction, to correct somebody whenever they do something that breaks the law. But we're gonna go into different kinds of spiritual prisons that our people are in. And the first part, what I kind of want to talk about, I'm gonna go pull a precept real quick in Luke chapter 2. So y'all gotta bear with me. I'm warming my spirit up, man. So this is Luke chapter 2 and verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. So Caesar Augustus, he was like the one of the first men to rule over Rome, like the first emperor. The point of why I pulled this precept is to show you that he made a decree that the whole world, all of his provinces, everybody that dwelt in his land, they needed to be taxed, right? And whenever you tax somebody, can you get that definition also, King? I'm gonna grab this precept from Groot.
Tax definition. It says a comp- compulsory contribution to state revenue levied by the government on workers, income, and business profits, or added to the cost of some goods, services, and transactions.
Kind. So most of the time, commonly known, you would be taxed when you have to pay a state money or a country currency, and that's a clear cut way to tell if you actually in bondage or not most of the time, right? Because if you paying taxes to government or to a city, state, or whatever the case may be, it's usually by another nation. That's why in verse 2, now it might be another one. One of the disciples was talking to Yahushua. I can't remember the precept.
Here, I'm here. I got it.
All praises.
I think this is what you're talking about, but I'll break it down.
Okay, come.
This is Matthew chapter 17 and verse 25. He said, "Yes, and when he was coming to the house, Yahushua prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers?" So Yahushua is talking to Peter, and he asking, Who does the king tax? Does he tax his own children or does he tax the strangers? And in this context, the Jews will be considered the strangers. Verse 26, Peter said unto him, Of strangers. Yahushua said unto him, Then are the children free. So the people who weren't getting taxed is going into or getting taxed as bad, that's going into the children, and they're the ones that's actually free, not the people that's actually getting taxed, not the people, the strangers, which will be us. So we will be in bondage and under servitude. Go ahead.
I'm gonna grab this precept. And Texas, it's many different words that you can use, but I want to grab a precept in Second Samuel, I believe, with King David. So like it might be in Kings. Basically, oh, I know where I can find it. Let's see, Edom. I believe it's tribute. Tribute. So like, one second. Like I said, we kind of doing this lesson of the spirit. So give me 1 second. Basically, maybe it's not tribute. But anyways, King David, as you know, he conquered the Philistines. He ran down on them. He ran down on the Edomites also. But it was one of the things I've seen in the scriptures that King David did whenever he actually, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's Garrison. Edom Garrison. One of the things King David did whenever he conquered them, he actually made them pay tributes. They became tributaries. I actually can think of a precept that I can go to right now. 2 Kings 24, where we was forced to be on a tribute. And this is a normal, I'm not going to say a normal thing, but this is something you see through the scriptures a lot. I'm going to go to Second Kings 17.
I'll read it for you.
All right, Khan.
17 and what?
Let's see. You can read verse 4. 17 and 4. That's another one I'm trying to
God. It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 17 and 4. It says, the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
God. So the point is, this is a form of tribute or taxes, even though the word right here says present, it's still the same thing. If you don't pay taxes, if you don't pay tribute, if you don't bring the presents to the city, to the state, or this kingdom, you will be thrown into prison. And that's exactly what you see that happened to our forefathers. And look at this. What ended up happening? Read the 5th verse. Read down a little bit more, King.
God. Verse 5, it says, then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Come on.
It says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes.
God, so the reason why I wanted to keep reading on this is to show you, if you don't bring the presents, you don't pay tribute, you don't pay taxes, the next thing you know, you in prison. In this particular scenario, the whole northern kingdom was led away captive to Assyria, to Nineveh, right? That's not freedom, right? So even though he wasn't, before he was actually cast into prison, he was already in a prison without bars. That's the point. Just because you're not physically behind bars, that don't mean that you're free. That does not mean you are free. I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm probably gonna say it a few more times. A whole lot of times. Just because you are not physically behind iron bars, that does not mean that you are free. That does not mean you are free. You bound by laws. And Israelites bound by laws. Hey, everybody in America is bound by these American laws, these regulations, the things that they want to set up, like taxes. You know, hey, a lot of our people. God, bring it out, man. What you got, Baruch?
So yeah, you want to go to that Brook 6 too, huh? I mean 4 and 6.
I'm gonna go to 3.
Okay. All right. So I want to just prove that even in the kingdom they're gonna be paying tribute. They're gonna be paying taxes in the kingdom, man. You know, it's always, it's a sign of rulership, like the brother was going into. So this is Revelation 21, and we know Revelation 21 goes into the New Jerusalem. Let's start at 25. Let's start at 24. It says, "And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it." It's talking about the kingdom. They're going to be bringing their honor and their glory to the nation of Israel to help build our kingdom, just like the brother was reading in 2 Kings 17, where it says that they was going to bring presents. Right? It's saying the same thing about the kingdom. They're going to be bringing their glory and honor to the kingdom. They're going to be paying tribute. Right? It says, verse 25, "And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it." So constantly, our doors, our gates is going to be open, and the heathens are going to be paying tribute every day, all day, man. Whatever they find, we getting first fruits of it, man. Because that's how it's set up. Just like the kingdom that's set up now. Hey, we paying tribute. Everything we buy, hey, you get taxed like 3 times a year, don't you? Like it's like at the end of the year when you pay for something, and when you first get your check, they taxing you on all of them. Hey, and it's just how it goes, man. But go ahead.
It's absurd when you really think about it. You buy something and it's $59.99, but the total end up being 69, 67.82 because you're getting taxed on everything you buy. That's a sign to show that you are under tribute. Can one of y'all brothers go to 1 Kings 9:21 and read the verse and elaborate on it? And I elaborate on it, but I want you to go to the blue letter. Now I do it since I'm in the blue letter. Just read the verse for me. Oh, good shot. I'm gonna just look up tribute because I've been using that word a lot, but people might not.
You say First Kings what?
9:21.
God, this is First Kings chapter 9, verse 21. It says, "Their children that were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel also were not able utterly to destroy.
Who is
Upon
he
those."
talking about? The
God,
people who he was not completely able to destroy was the Canaanites, the Hittites. If you read up, it'll tell you it's them Canaanites, man. It's them Hittites. Right? Come on.
God, it says, "Solomon levy a tribute of bond service unto this day."
Right. So they was under a levy of tribute unto this day. Now, whenever I look up tribute in the blue letter, I'm gonna just read it. Some of the synonyms say tributary, levy, discomfited, taskmasters. But the definition says gang or body of forced laborers. Are you free if you are forced to labor? Of course not. It says task workers, labor band or gang, forced service. Forced service. If you are forced to service or serve somebody, you are a slave. It says taskmasters. Everybody should know what a taskmaster is. It's like a boss, somebody who reigns over you and makes sure you doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Hey,
You got something?
I got something for you on that Taskmasters.
Okay, Con.
All right, so this is an example. This is Exodus 5, and I'm gonna just start at 9. It says, "Let therefore more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words." It says, "And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw." And you can go into the word Pharaoh, it goes into government. So the same thing how our people do, the government do our people today. It says, "And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw." It says, "Go ye, get you straw where you can find it. Yet not aught of your work shall be diminished." He says, "Hey, you gonna build this brick a different way, and you better not slack, not even a little bit." Right? That's what Pharaoh's saying. He says, verse 12, "So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmaster hasted them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily task, as when there was straw." right? So we know our people got put to work, but at the end of the day, we look at today's society. Hey, it's the same thing, man. Like the brother said, like you being in captivity without bars is you have to work that 9 to 5, whether you want to or not. It ain't like you can make the decision to live off the land because you can't. They're pushing the farmers out of those land, and there's like we did the lesson on the Terminator gene technology, where they're paying the farmers to destroy their own crops, man, paying them a lot of money. So it all goes back to you know them having this control. But go ahead, I don't want to continue.
Right. So to finish up with the Strongs, it says attacks, and this is under the word tribute in the Hebrew. It says attacks in the form of forced labor, levy, tax. So this is modern day slavery. Just because you're not behind iron bars, it does not mean you are free. That's something that can you give me that a gift to destroy the heart? That's something that somebody who still sleep wouldn't understand. If you say you woke and you think you got understanding and you think you deep and you got it all figured out, but you can't tell that you're still a slave here in America. You got to go back to the drawing board and start over and build yourself up from the beginning, because that's one of the fundamental things you have to understand when coming into the truth, that you still a slave. You born with a number and another man's last name. You ain't free. You is not free. Bring that out.
God, this is Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart."
Right? The first part of the verse says, "Surely oppression makes a wise man mad." That's a guarantee. If you don't ever get upset because of how your people is targeted, demoralized, raped, spoiled, destroyed, you don't really understand yet what's going on. And why you don't understand is probably because all of these different gifts that's being shoved down your throat. You know what them gifts do? It destroys your mind. It destroys your heart. Another word for mind in the Bible is heart. It's a code word. When the Bible says heart, 9 times out of 10, it's talking about your brain, your mind, right? I always use the similar to when somebody says, "Man, you broke my heart." Think about that. You broke my heart. Did you actually break their heart? No. You got them confused. You had them thinking something when it was really something else. You know, you was telling them you care about them, but you really didn't. So you broke their mind up. They confused. It don't make sense. But a gift, it confuses a man. And imagine if your enemy is walking up to you with a present, a gift, and a hug. And as soon as y'all hug and you open up the gift, y'all go in for a hug, and you're like, "Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Man, this is a beautiful gift." And then he hug you, reach around the back and stab you in your damn back, stab you in your spine. You're going to be confused. And that's what your enemy do. They show you a gift. They show you presents. They give you all these benefits, all of these gifts, and next thing you know, all they're trying to do is spoil you, confuse you, make you think that they're for you and that they got your back and that they friends and that they love you. But the whole time, they had swords drawn. The whole time, they never had your best interests. Hey, an enemy, you know what whenever you getting into a fight or any kind of war, the best tactic is the element of surprise, catching your enemy off guard, being cunning, right? Kind of being snake-like, making your enemy think that you're doing one thing, but it's a whole other thing going on behind the table, under the table, or behind closed doors. And that's what our enemies do. And if you can't see that, you got to start over. If you can't see that you're really still a slave here in America, We got to start over. You're gonna have to start over. That's the fundamentals of understanding the truth. And the truth is, our people, hey, look, mentally, you might be inclined, spiritually, you might be inclined, you might have been freed because you understand now, but technically, you're still a slave. Technically, the whole body of our nation, our people, we are still slaves. We don't understand yet. We got eyes, but we can't see. We got ears, but we can't hear. Right? Let me grab another precept in Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Aharon, you got something?
La.
Baruch chapter 3 verse 8 says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. Baruch is the scribe, man. He said, we are yet this day in our captivity. Watch what he identifies after this, proving what captivity looks like. It says, where thou hast scattered us. That's the first clue. Our people are scattered everywhere on earth. Native Americans, they everywhere. So-called Mexicans, they everywhere. You know, they in Spain, Central America, North America, South America. You got Hispanics everywhere. You got Negroes, so-called African Americans, they still in Africa. You know, you got them in North America, Central America, Brazil. You got them everywhere. You got our people scattered across the four corners of the earth. That's the first clue to show you that we are still in bondage. And you might say, well, how does that prove we're still in bondage? When you free, you have your own land to make your own rules, to develop your own armies, to develop your own currency, to run your country and your nation how you see fit. But we are being ran by these other countries how they please and how they see fit. That's the first identity, the first marker. Highlight that. We scattered. That's a good way to identify if somebody's free or not. It says, where thou hast scattered us for reproach and the curse. And everywhere we are, everywhere our people go on earth, we are being cursed in these cities, cursed in the fields, hating our brothers. Our eyes is evil towards our brothers. No matter what we do, we can't prosper. Now we can go through the curses and show you how we still slaves. And it says a reproach. And no matter where we go, people look down on us like we the bottom, the lowest piece of anything. That's the harsh truth. It says, and to be subject to payments. Our people, no matter where they go, they subject to payments to benefit these other countries, these other nations. We subject to these people's payments. And that's why we kicked it off with taxes and tributes and tributaries and levies. That's a quick way to identify if you are still a slave. It says, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. It says, hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom. So even us being in captivity, he said, give ear to understanding and wisdom and keep the commandments because they are life. How happened it to Israel that thou art in thy enemy's land? He said, how is it that our people are actually falling in their enemy's land? Didn't they have the sweetest land on earth? Right? We had everything that was from, in Genesis chapter 3, it tell you, we was between those three rivers. Euphrates, I might have to grab it because I already spoke on it. So like we had the sweetest land, man. It says, the name of the first is Pison. That is which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of the land, good there and bdellium, and the onyx stone. And the name of the second is Gihon, and the same is that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river, Hiddekel, that is which goeth toward the east of Syria, and the fourth is Euphrates. Right? So this is where our land is, the sweetest land. got the sweetest land. That's why it's called the land flowing with milk and honey. The best land on earth was given to us, where a cluster of grapes had to be carried by two people. The best land on earth. And you got the Jordan River flowing right through the middle of it. And you got the sea right next to it. We got the best land on earth, man, but we here in a strange land, being taxed, being punished, being gunned down, being reproached, living out these curses. This should make you angry. What you got, Captain?
I was just gonna say, that's why they fighting over that land, man. That's why they've been fighting over that land to this day, man. They all want that land.
God, man.
Hey, but I do got a precept though. Is that cool?
Let me finish this verse. Baruch 3
All
and
right,
10,
go
it
ahead.
says, How happened it Israel that thou art in thy enemy's land, that thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead? Man, we could keep going on this, but the point is the point, man. Just because you're not physically behind bars, that do not mean that you are free. I yield the floor.
God, so hey, like the brother said, just because we're not behind iron bars, that don't mean we free, man. So this is, and we can go back to the curses and prove this. This Deuteronomy 28 and 68, right? It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. It's talking about our homeland. So we will be in bondage, whether it's a chattel slavery or whether it's slavery through being taxed, like the brother's going into. It says, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So no man gonna buy us, nobody's gonna redeem us out of this captivity, but Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. So that proves that we're still in captivity until Yahweh Shah Hamashiach come and pry us from Esau's hands, man. But that's it.
God, Officer Aaron,
What's up?
you alive?
Yeah, I'm here.
God. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. So I like to show, whenever I do a lesson, sometimes I don't like boxing myself into one particular area and I'm just beating up a damn horse. So now we finna switch gears in another way how you can be imprisoned in another way without iron bars. So first, just showing you how being in America, even though this is the land of the free, home of the brave, you're still a slave. You're still nothing more than just a number, right? You're still just a coon, just a nigga to them. You just bubble it. You still a spick. You ain't nothing to them. You still a slave. You bound by their laws. Here in America, it's just a whole bunch of weird stuff going on, a whole bunch of confusion, right? But it's another way. There's a lot of ways you can be imprisoned without actually being confined in a jail cell with iron bars. Another way is you putting yourself in a prison, if that makes sense, where you are your own stumbling block, where you become your own stumbling block. I want to grab this description at Sirach. I don't know it perfectly, but I know where it is in my Bible, so I'm trying to find it. Basically, it says something of the nature: "A wise man knoweth when he slips." A stumbling block is something in the way, and it makes you trip. Obviously, it makes you stumble. It slows you down. It makes you fall backwards. You don't want to be the person who slows your own self down. Don't be that person. Don't let your own insecurities. That's a big thing right there. Let's touch on that. Let's touch on that. Captain Jeremiah, he does a beautiful. Shout out to my captain, man. He does a beautiful job at breaking things down to where a baby can understand it. And it's a big difference between confidence and pride. Our people need more confidence in themselves. A lot of times, one of the biggest enemies we got is ourselves. Hey, Officer Haran, can you get me Sirach 11:2? I like this precept right here.
God, this is Sirach chapter 11 and verse 2. It says, "Command not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance."
Read down one. It might be 11:1. Basically, your own conscience. Say something about your conscience. That's not it, huh?
I'm not seeing it.
Are you talking about 6 and 2?
It could be. It says, "Blessed is the man whose conscience has not condemned him."
Oh no, okay.
But the point is, a lot of times, the things that's most heavy to us and that's wearing us down is ourselves, our own conscience. And
I
when
got it.
God, bring it up.
This is Sirach chapter 14, verse 2. "Blessed is he whose conscience hath not condemned him, and who is not fallen from his hope in the Lord."
God, it says, "Blessed is he whose conscience," meaning your mind, your inward person. Your conscience is your brain. Blessed is the man whose conscience had not condemned him. What does condemn mean? Let's get a Google definition real quick. Let's see. Condemn.
I got it.
Blessed.
Condemn. In the Google, it says, express complete disapproval of, typically in public censor. It says, sentence to a particular punishment, especially death.
Mm,
Prove or show guilt of, officially declare to be unfit uh or for use.
con. I'm looking at some of the synonyms for condemn, right? So I can be more eloquent when I'm breaking stuff down. Some of the synonyms, let's read this as criticize, attack. Let's see another good one. Revile, blame, rebuke, find fault with. That's a good one.
I got
Depreciate.
something.
Okay, let me get a few more. It says slam or hammer. Mm, that's some good precepts right there. What you got?
Second Ezra 16. I'm gonna touch on the condemned part too. The
Perfect.
second Ezra 16 and 76. "And the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves." So you don't want to condemn yourself or call yourself or give yourself a judgment, because you're not the most high God. Because a lot of people, they'll commit a sin and they'll be like, damn, I'm not gonna make it. That's them just condemning themselves right there. I'm not gonna make it. So they kind of stop and they kind of give up, and then they kind of trick themselves off. You don't want your sins to weigh you down to where it's like, damn, I can't do nothing no more. I'm gonna just give up. And then you don't want your iniquities to lift themselves up. You don't want to be boastful and prideful in your iniquities, into where you just committing sins and so on and so forth. Because the scriptures say that a just man falleth 7 times but get it back up. So even if you do sin, repent for it, turn away from it, fast on it, and try to turn away from that sin and tap in with some brothers and try to get away from that situation. You don't want to condemn yourself, and you don't want to lock yourself up in your own head and in your own mind and think that you're not going to make it no more. That's not what the scriptures say. But y'all got it.
Hey man, that's a perfect point. Hey, can you get that? I want to roll into the scripture. Fear not, little flock. Right, give me that. I
Huh.
know you got it. So confidence is major. Confidence is major. Um, Jeremiah, hey, you quoted a beautiful precept. He said, "A just man full of 7 times." Man, you're not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna get it right the first time. You might not get it right the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe even you might not get it right. You might not ever get it right. But if you are the person holding your head down, and man, I just don't know if I can do this. You sighing and I don't You're scared to look people in their eyes. You know, your shoulders always crouched over, and you always nervous. You always biting your nails. You need to grow up. And I'm not saying that in a what is it, derogatory way. I mean, grow up. Everything that grows changes, and it takes time. Like a plant, you gotta water it. It gotta get them nutrients. It needs the sun. It needs light. It goes through the ups and downs. The seasons change. It takes time. But one thing is for sure: you gotta have confidence to grow and to change. If you don't have confidence, you don't want to change. Next thing you know, you're gonna get put in trials and tribulations, and you're not gonna have no faith that you're gonna make it out of it. You're not gonna be if you're not confident in the Most High God. You're not confident. Look, first of all, if you're not confident and what you believe in, first and foremost, putting the Most High God first and fearing Him, trusting Him, it's gonna be really hard to find that inner peace within yourself. I always say this, man. When you go back to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, it says, "But this is the conclusion of the whole matter: fear God and keep the commandments." That gives your life a purpose and a direction. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know you gotta fear God. You gotta keep the commandments. You gotta love your brothers. You gotta keep the Sabbath. It gives you purpose, man. But when you walk in, people, let me slow down, man. Let me slow down. There's a lot of things that's on my spirit, but that's not going, me rushing through it ain't going to benefit nobody. So I want to start by saying this. If you are in this truth, that is a blessing in itself. The Most High God chose you. That should raise your confidence already. The Most High God dealing with me. He's not dealing with everybody. He didn't choose everybody, but for some reason, he chose me. He wants to use me. He wants me to know him. He's pulling me towards him. He pulled me out of the world and made me see who he really is. That should strengthen your faith, and that should help build your confidence. And just because you messed up, the Lord knows you're going to mess up. The Lord knows that you're going to mess up. But this is Jeremiah 29 and 11. Jeremiah 29 and 11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." The Lord said the thoughts that he thinks towards you is thoughts of peace. Peaceful thoughts. It also says to give you an expected end. What does the expected end consist of? It consists of the kingdom, the promises, glory, spiritual bodies, an abundance of all things. That's that expected end. The Lord wants to do that for us. But you're not confident. You don't believe that He really gonna do it. And you're putting yourself in a damn prison. And you locking yourself up in the room, and you sitting down on the floor crying, and you act like it's not that bad. It's not that serious. The worst part, the worst thing that you're going through is the things that you putting yourself through. I say this a lot. Well, I don't say this a lot, but I think it a lot. It's not that bad. When we look at the big picture, what the Most High God is putting us through, it's not that bad. Most of the time, the things that we go through is because we putting ourselves through it. We don't got to deal with none of that. The Lord don't even want us to stress. The reasons why we stress is because we putting ourselves in that prison. And we putting ourselves behind them gates, them spiritual doors, and we locking it, and we fleshing it, and we just sitting in there. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of here. Don't do that. You don't have to go through that. Why? Because the Lord got your back. It's on you, officer.
Kind. I wanted to touch on this chapter 17 of Wisdom of Solomon. I wanted to touch on the fear aspect of it.
Definitely.
So if you ain't ready to go into that, you can keep going, and then if not, if you're ready, we can get into it.
Let's get into it.
All right, kind. So
I
we're
can
gonna get
read it
some
for you.
context. Kind. We're gonna get some context on this Wisdom of Solomon chapter 17. The you know, just to let it marinate and let it sit in, because this is hot. This is a hot
Ah,
chapter.
it's hot.
You know. So you can start at verse 1. Go ahead.
God. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 1. For great are thy judgments and cannot be expressed. Therefore, unnurtured souls have heard.
Go ahead.
For when unrighteous men thought to oppress the holy nation, they being shut up in their houses, the prisoners of darkness, and fettered with the bonds of a long night, lay there, exiled from the eternal providence.
Okay, kind. So the context of this story is us in Egypt. The context of this story is us in Egypt, and it's the Most High, and it's the Most High that's so like I'm looking something up while I'm trying to talk. All right, now it's the Most High that's sending these plagues upon Egypt, and one of the things that He sent upon Egypt was darkness, and it was a crazy darkness. I can't remember what it said. It was a darkness that could be felt.
We're going to read it.
God, it was a crazy darkness. Now I wanted to look up this word providence, because that's the word that I was looking up when I was trying to talk. It says because they are exiled from the eternal providence, and providence means the protective care of God or of nature as a spiritual power. So you have these Egyptians. These Egyptians were exiled from the eternal providence. They were exiled from God's protection. Why? Because they had taken us into captivity. They had treated us with rigor. They had did such and such to us. They set taskmasters over us when at first we came unto them in peace. It's a scripture that says that the Egyptians, it was a law against them, or it's against the Egyptians to sit and eat with the Hebrew. That's how they treated us. They treated us like we were dogs. You know. So now the Most High is finna send something upon them that's utterly fearful. You know, you got something? Okay, kind of hold on. I got Exodus 10 and 21. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be a darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. Now, this is one hell of a darkness. If you ever turn your light off and go in your closet and close your eyes, it's darker than that. Imagine that. You turn the light off in your room, you go in your closet, and you shut your eyes. It is darker than that. It's a darkness which can be felt. And what this darkness is going over fear. It's the darkness is there, but it's more spiritual aspect behind this darkness. Go ahead.
Can you call that precept one more time?
That was Exodus chapter 10, verse 21. I need to write that in my Bible while I'm talking.
That's what I'm saying. I'm putting it in there right now. We studying, getting it in, eating. And I wanted to touch on something.
Go ahead.
Stress, um,
We're gonna
stress,
touch on it.
stress comes from fear. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, remember that point, because I got a precept that's gonna bang with that.
10:4.
All right, go ahead, verse 3.
Verse 3 says, for while they supposed to lie hid in their secret sins, they were scattered under a dark veil of forgetfulness, being horribly astonished and troubled with strange apparitions.
So the Most High had troubled them with strange apparitions. Let me look up what the word apparition means, because we finna get into these words and figure out what these things mean.
Go.
Let's see what apparition. Apparition means a ghost or ghost-like image of a person. It says the appearance of something remarkable or unexpected. So An apparition is going into something. You basically see something that's not there, or you see the outline of a man, or you see the outline of a woman, or an outline of a beast. You know, mind you, it's pitch black, but they seeing strange apparitions. How the hell does that work? That's because it's all in their head. They're so scared of this dark. They're so scared of this darkness that the Most High put on them, and He's putting this fear upon them. He's throwing this fear upon their hearts. Mind you, the Most High can do this to you today. If you going off, the Most High can put you in the same darkness. Don't play with this man. He can put you in the same. There's men that's walking around in that same darkness today. You
It
know,
is.
I see men walking around. They talk to themselves and they kind of crazy and they fearing and they and a lot of them is on drugs.
Big con.
Yeah, a
They
lot of them is
stretching and
plagued.
hey, jittering and saying, "Don't touch me, don't touch me." Ain't nobody even over there by you.
Yeah, you got some men that scream and crawl into the corner because they scared that this strange apparition is gonna come upon them. So don't think that this is just a story and it's a tall tale and this can't never happen to me. Don't think that. Captain, you got something?
Yeah, I got something for you.
Go ahead, King.
All right, Con. So this is Job 15, and we just brought this out last night. Job 15 and 20. It says, "The wicked man travaileth with pain all his days, and the number of years is hidden to the oppressor." It says, "A dreadful sound is in his ears, and prosperity the destroyer shall come upon him." So it's talking about a man and his thoughts, man, what he's thinking, right? It says, "Hey, that darkness." It says, "He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness." So what is that darkness talking about? The same thing the brothers is going over right now, right? It says, "And he is waited for of the sword." This is what he's thinking, right? And this is how brothers in the hood be thinking. It says, "He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, Where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand." Straight up, straight like that, man. Go ahead.
Con, it's back on you, Mar.
Verse 4 says, "For neither might, for neither might the quarter that held them keep them from fear, but noises as of waters falling down sounded about them, and sad visions appeared unto them with heavy countenances."
So Con, not even the corner could save them from the fear. Cause you know how when you're scared, you're trying to get under your cover and you're trying to get away from it, and I just need to get somewhere safe. So you kind of get in the corner because nothing can come behind you. But yet they're in the corner and it says sad visions appear unto him. A different translation says sad, gloomy, gloomy visions appeared unto him, dark and gloomy apparitions, and so on and so forth. These men are going through hell in this night. Best believe it was a long night, the night of Passover. Please believe that. Please, you have. Oh man, I'm getting to it. You can keep going.
Verse 5, "No power of the fire might give them light.
Read that again.
No power of the fire might give them light.
Go ahead.
Neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night."
It says that not even fire could give them light. You got men out there that are actually lighting fires and they feel the heat, but they can't see it. They can't see. They like, oh my God, I just lit a fire and I can feel it and I hear it, but I don't see nothing still. I'm looking up in the sky and I don't see the moon. I don't see the stars. Damn. With Solomon is describing this as a horrible night. This was a great night for us. For
Beautiful.
Israel, for Israel, this was beautiful. We had light. This was our night to get out of captivity. But for the other nations, for the Egyptians, it was terrible. And it's gonna be the same way when we get out of this captivity. It's gonna be the exact same way. They're gonna fall into utter darkness. Go ahead.
I want to grab this precept in Joel real quick if I can get there quick enough. Joel chapter 3 and verse 31. "The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before that great and terrible day of the Lord come." So one of the things that's prophesied by Joel, it tells you that the sun was going to be turned into darkness. Ain't going to be no light. Hey, that's why I tell you and well, let me grab this real quick. This is a classic. Everybody heard this precept before. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." We walk by faith, not by sight. It don't matter
Con.
if all the lights go out, electricity. If you imagine striking a match and you can't see it, but it's burning.
I don't know what happened to the brother, but I know where he was going. Imagine striking a match and you can't see it and it's burning and you feel the heat on your hands. All right, he back. He got it. Go ahead.
Satan trying to get us, trying to get us. But just imagine now, just imagine how dark it had to been for you can't see the stars, you can't see the moon, you can't a fire isn't giving off light, candles isn't giving off light. A big part, you can't do anything without being able to see it. You can't fight off demons. You can't fight people blindfold. You can't do nothing in the dark. And that's why a lot of the beautiful things in the scriptures that it says about us, or just in general, it always revolves around light. It tells you that the laws, the statutes, and commandments are light. It tells you that Yahweh Shah is the light. It tells you that we are the light. It tells you that we are the light of the world. Hey, but imagine not being able to see. You can't do nothing. But that's what the Most High God brung upon our enemies. Yeah, he brung all of them plagues, but he gave them a darkness that can be felt, where you can touch, like, bro, it's dark. That's why I'm dropping precepts. He says, so that my soul chooses strangely and death rather than my life. Hey, a lot of people is going rather, they would rather die. He dropped some precepts. He said, an evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. Khan. And talk about that cruel messenger being Yahweh Shah.
Con.
Khan. Where we at? Verse 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Wisdom of Solomon 17, verse 6 says, only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful. For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not.
Okay, so the only things that they could see was the things that the Most High was bringing upon them. You know, he was putting things in their imaginations and things that they thinking they see, and this that, mind you, it's pitch black, but they're imagining that they seeing this fire. They're like, oh my God, I see this, but I lit my fire and I can't see it. But who the hell lit this fire? You know, they kind of talking amongst each other, man. You do see this fire right here? Like, well, my fire over here, and I see this one over here, and what the hell's going on? Ain't no telling the color of that fire. It may have been purple, it may have been red, ain't no telling. But it's all in their head. But it says they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the things or than the sight they saw not. I'm gonna read that in a different translation. Verse 6 in the KJV, not KJV, GNT. There was only a dreadful fire lit by no human hand. Mind you, it says there was only a dreadful fire lit by no human hand that shone on them. And in their terror, they believed that the real world was even worse than the things they imagined. So they were imagining certain things, but something popped up in real life that's like, oh my God, that's way scarier than I even thought. I thought a lion would be here. What the hell is this? I don't know what this is. You know, I thought this. I hear crickets and I hear dogs and I hear this, that, and the third. But what the hell? What just popped up?
I hear a snake, but it looked like a man.
He said, "I hear a snake." Right. Imagine the Most High sending an angel down. Twain covering his face. Twain flying with Twain covering his body. You don't want to see that. He got a lion on one face, a cattle on the other, a man body on the. You don't want to see that, and it's just flying. And they hearing things. It's not just quiet; they're hearing things. Oh my God, Egypt ain't never been like this. Go ahead.
Hey, you ever hey, this is how scary we is. Um, if you ever I'm gonna give you an experience. Say you upstairs, say you got a 2-story house, and you hear something downstairs, something just fall off. You hear something like this, but nobody home.
Hell no.
Jay kind of looking around. He kind of like, what the hell is going on? It is now. Imagine you hearing roars and screams like a girl getting raped or something. And, oh my gosh, help! You hearing all. Imagine it's just like a jungle out there. It's all kind of noises, sirens and horns, and you hearing gunshots and people getting hacked in half, chainsaws. Imagine you hearing a chainsaw and it's gradually coming closer to you. Imagine that. We're gonna get
Really?
it. We're gonna keep reading. Like, you ready?
Come on, let's go. Verse 7.
Verse 7. As for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting and wisdom was reproved with disgrace.
So Egypt was known for their magic. They were known for that, you know. So they're trying to use magic and they're trying to use witchcraft and they're trying to do all of this and it's put to shame. They're doing everything to get light. They're doing everything to get these apparitions out of their house and their homes. They're doing everything they can. Get out of here. They're doing rituals, so on and so forth. You know, they trying to get through there with this magic, but it was put to shame. You know, same thing that's gonna happen with Esau. Esau going. You think he ain't got no witchcraft going on? Think he doesn't know magic? Even his carnal weapons are gonna be put to shame. Everything that he's gonna try is gonna be put to shame. It's not gonna work. There's still gonna be a terrible darkness and a terrible fear. The fear and darkness is going together. It's synonymous together. So when I say darkness, think about it as I'm saying fear. Or if I'm saying fear, think about it as if I'm saying darkness. Because it's going into the same thing. That's what this night is about. This night is about fear. And that's a way that you can trap yourself in this iron bar. I mean, trap yourself in a prison without iron bars. That's the context. We're going to keep going, but that's the context. You're so scared and you're so fearful of everything. If you're scared of everything, you don't want to go nowhere. You can't run from your thoughts. You can't run or escape from your imagination. How are you going to escape that?
You got to deal with them.
You got to. Esau may give you a couple pills, but that ain't going to help. Frankie's still there. I still see Frankie. Frankie won't leave. Frankie keep telling me to kill people.
Right, Mickey.
Right. Frankie and Mickey keep telling me to kill people. You know, and Esau kind of got the pharmaceuticals and the pills.
He in the back of your head, he in your ear saying, do it. Do it now.
Right.
No, Mickey.
For real. Hey, you cannot escape your own mind. Oh my God. And I have experience with this. I definitely have experience with this where it was one point where I couldn't escape my mind. I couldn't escape my own thoughts. And it troubled me day and night, even when I slept. The only time I felt good was when I went to sleep. Literally, because when I woke up, I was back in prison. That shit was hell. I'm not even gonna lie. That was hell. I hated it. Because there's no way to escape. You cannot run. That's why a lot of men and women commit suicide. Because they're trapped in that utter darkness. They're trapped in that mind, in their own heart. They can see certain things and they hear certain things and they keep talking to themselves. And, you know, you kind of looking over your eye like, what the hell was that? Did you just see that person right there? Or am I tripping? And they kind of like, no, nigga, I don't know who you talking about. Or some men or some women may see a damn girl walking down the hall with a doll. Don't let me see that. She getting blasted. I don't even care if she real or not. She getting trampled down. I'm grabbing the gat. You got something?
Well, I'm listening. You spitting.
All right, Con, you look like you had something. But Con, there's no way to escape your own mind, and that's exactly what these men in Egypt and these women and children. Think about that. A lot of people always try to give the most high like he's some soft person. No, everybody, all the Egyptians were going through this. Men, women, children. Some men probably hanging themselves. Some men probably throwing themselves in fire. Some men probably stabbing themselves. They trying to stumble across a knife, grab it, boom, jab it in their neck, boom, jab it in their heart. They trying to escape this. And that's the same way it's gonna be in these end times, man. People better stop playing with the most high before you send a terrible fear upon you. The thing that you feared the most ain't even the thing that you feared the most. You thought you was scared of this until the most high showed you what you was really scared of. He can put something on your mind heavy. Oh my God. He's so cold with it. That's why I love him though. He's so cold with it. Because he can do anything he wants. And it's just. Think about
Man,
it.
it's just
It's just judgment because of what these stinking Egyptians did to us, did to the apple of his eye. But yet in the New Testament, he changed. Hell no. He would do this to these Egyptians, but he won't do it to the people that did us worse than the Egyptians.
The modern day Egyptians.
Right.
right.
They did us worse than the Egyptians. And he won't do it to them?
Something like that. No.
Man, you silly. You silly. You can go ahead though.
Verse 8 says, "For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at."
How is that? How do you check this out? It's saying that they were sick. What is it when a modern day time when a person is in their head and in their mind and trapped in their mind? Oh, this man is sick. He has a mental condition. He has to go to a hospital. We have
Right?
to put him up in a loony bin.
Crazy house.
The crazy house. He is sick. That lets you know that these sicknesses are spiritual as well.
Like demons.
They are demons. The Most High will send an evil spirit upon you quick. But that's not the point of the scripture. The scripture says, "For they that promise to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at." Salakia. So the man that's over there just saying, I can heal you. I have this magic. I have this herb. I have this oil and this remedy. Come here. Let me do this for you. Next thing you know, he got it. And he going through the same thing. He walking around scared as hell. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away from me. And we can see it. The Israelites can see it because we had light. We weren't in fear. The Most High didn't send that terrible fear upon us that night. So we're looking at these Egyptians like, damn, these are the men that reigned over us? And that's exactly how we're going to look at Esau in these end days. These are the men that, how did they conquer us? Look at this nigga, man. He's in the street scared of nothing. He's looking this way, but there's no one there. Next thing you know, he off himself. And you're like, he put us in captivity. How? How? But a spiritual man, of course, knows how. The spiritual man knows all things. If you get what I'm saying. You can go ahead, though.
Verse 9. "For though no terrible thing did fear them," it's like it. "For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that pass by and hissing of serpents."
So, I'm going to read that in a different translation. Verse 9 in the GNT. Even though nothing dangerous had actually happened, they were terrified by hissing snakes and animals advancing on them. This is how we know that this is all in the mind. Nothing was even happening. Nothing even touched them, but they felt it. They heard it. They seen it. Only they can tell you that experience.
Right.
Nothing, literally nothing was there and nothing even happened to them. But it was all the fear in their head. Go ahead,
And think about this. They they so scared, they so fearful, they kind of stressing themselves out. They hearing creeping sounds on their right. They hear a bear over here. They hear a you ever you know that police knock at the door and somebody they hearing noises like that. You don't know what the hell going on. But none of them things was actually happening. And I want to relate that to the time that we living in and the things that we stressing about. 9 times out of 10, the things that we're scared about or the things that we're stressing about has not actually happened. It's things you kind of played out in your head, or you seen it in your head and you kind of biting your nails, man. I hope that don't happen. And you kind of losing hair. You got kind of bald spots in your head now because you're stressing too much. You kind of teary-eyed. Now you out of the spirit. Now you can't get no rest at night. You tossing and turning. And you thinking about something that hasn't even happened. All right? You are bounding yourself. You threw yourself into prison.
God.
You putting yourself in some spiritual handcuffs. Why are you stressing about something that ain't even happened? Jay gotta stop doing that. Verse 10. They died for fear, denying that they saw the air, which could have no side be avoided.
So, Khan, I'm gonna read that in a different translation. It says, "And so they died, shaking with fear, afraid even to open their eyes, yet unable to keep them shut." That's crazy. And so they died, shaking with fear, afraid to even open their eyes, yet unable to keep them shut. These men and women were dying of fear, shaking. That's how powerful fear is. That's how strong fear is. It's all in your mind, in your imagination, in your head has so much power. Literally, there's a thing actual that's true. If you see the symptoms of a disease, you'll be so scared of it that you'll start developing those symptoms. You may not even have the disease or the virus, but you'll start developing those symptoms just because you're so scared and you think that you have it. Mind is so powerful that it even killed them. Go ahead.
Hey, you can psych yourself out. You see somebody coughing, you like, ooh, I don't want to get, that's like a corona cough. And you kind of cough and you like, oh shit, I got corona.
Right.
You didn't psych yourself out. One of the things my dad said, and even my father-in-law, they said, you can psych yourself out in the righteous way. You like, hey, today gonna be a good day. You know, today gonna be a good day. Next thing you know, today was a magnificent day. You just psyched yourself out. Hey, one of the things, this is a testimony. My dad will always wake up and he'd be like, man, today gonna be a great day. Today gonna be a great day. And he used to always say, I'm like, bro, you weird. Like, shut up. But then one day I was at school and I hated math. I just didn't like it. I was decent at it, but I just hated math. It was around the time they started trying to make you like add letters. I'm like, bro, this is pointless. This is stupid. But then I was on my way to class and I'm like, I don't hate math. I love math. And I started doing that for like a week. And next thing you know, I got straight A's in math. I love math. This is my favorite subject. I can't wait to get to this class. So stop saying, I don't have faith. Start saying, man, I got a lot of faith. I could probably move this mountain right now. Man, I can do anything. Man, I feel like I'm on fire. Stop always saying, man, I just don't know if I can do it anymore. People actually walk around, I don't know if I can do it anymore, King. Look, man, you got to get out of that. That's an unfruitful spirit. That's not the fruits of the spirit. That kind of spirit is going to get you cut down. It's going to get you cut down. You need to start saying, I am confident. If you're not confident, say the opposite. I am confident. If you're not strong, say I am strong. This is the kind of spiritual healing our people need. If you weak, say I'm not weak. I'm strong. I'm real strong.
Salakia.
What you got?
I got something for you.
Bring it out.
You can break it down. It's common. Sirach 2 and 13, it says, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended.
Right. He said, woe unto him that is faint-hearted. He don't believe. Therefore, the Most High God not going to defend him. But if this brother is saying, I do believe on the Most High God, he always there for me. There's plenty of times he got me out of trouble, sticky situations. I done dodged a lot of bullets. The Most High God always saving me. I almost said saving my behind.
Yeah.
Always saving me, man. Don't be the person where I just don't know if Yahweh is really real. I haven't got any visions. Brothers always getting visions. I don't get any visions. I don't know, King. Bro, you don't need a vision. You can see, it's evident throughout every day that there is a true and living God. You can look into the smallest things and be like, that gotta be done by God. There's no way that this could be made by a Big Bang. There's no way that this could have just lined up so perfectly in my life without it being a God. This gotta be God. There's no way I should have got out of that situation. You gotta start building your faith, exercising your faith. If you don't got it, psych yourself out. I do got faith. I do believe. I am on fire. I gotta do more. I am gonna do more. Man, we gotta really start. One of the things me and Aharon start talking about, and that's really been on our spirit. A lot of times, like in the truth, like sometimes you get kind of like, man, I need to work on this, or not even in the truth, in the world, anywhere. You just like, man, I should do this, or I need to do this. You have something that pop up in your head that you should do. You like, man, I need to hit that brother up. Right. Do it right then and there. What you putting it off for? He was like, man, I need to do a video. All right, let me go ahead and get up, man. What you putting it off for? This is what we need to do. We need to start being proactive. What you putting it off for? Why not do it now? If you don't do it now, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get distracted. You know, Jake pick up his phone, he end up scrolling on Facebook. The thought pop up. The Most High God give him another chance to pop up in his head again. Yeah, I'm gonna get up in a few seconds. Next thing you know, you watching a YouTube video. It's in the wind now. Do it right then and there. Try your best to really build up the habit. You know? So like, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked. Where we at? Verse 11?
Come.
Verse 11. For wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience always forecasteth grievous things.
Come. This is verse 11 in the GNT. Wickedness is cowardly in itself and stands self-condemned. Someone with a guilty conscience will always imagine things to be worse than they really are. And now this is going into how men that are guilty, they know that they have a short time. Sinners, wicked men in general, they know that they have a short time. They always going to believe things are worse than they really are. That way they can try to get themselves out of this situation. They can try to slide and snake their way out of this situation, because it's like, damn, I need to get out of this because this look like this. You always had that one friend that's like, nigga, ain't nobody after you, but he like, nigga, nah, that nigga over here, he trying to get me. He trying to snake me. Like, nigga, nobody know you. That's because that brother guilty. What's up?
You ain't see how he looked at me.
Right.
He wasn't even looking at you.
That's because that brother is guilty, and wickedness is cowardly, and his conscience is killing him within itself. Because you don't want to be walking around with guilt like that. That's just not even right. But we can keep going.
God,
Hey, Yahweh said, in me you will have peace. So this proves if you living in the body of Yahweh Hamashiach.
God, if you really believe on him, you wouldn't be walking around with that, I don't know if I'm good enough spirit. Look, one thing about my spirit, I always feel like, man, I know I can be doing more. Like I gotta go harder. You know, I gotta do better. You know, for myself, I want to be a strong pillar, a strong rock for my family. So I gotta build myself up. I gotta acquire strength. I gotta really depend on the Most High God to really build me up into a strong. But I'm never gonna. I don't. You don't see me walking around and just be like, I just don't know if I can do it, God. Are you sure you want me? That's not gonna get it. That's not gonna get it. Verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of succors with reason, which reason offereth.
Con. Here's the definition of succor or succor: assistance and support in times of hardship and distress. It says, for fear is nothing else but a betraying of the assistance which reason offereth. So if you're dealing with reason and you're dealing with logic, you understand that fear is nothing. Fear does not have power over us. Grab me First John chapter 4 and verse 18. DeBar, can you hold on? DeBar, can you grab me dang, Salakia. Can you grab me Sirach 30 and 23? Baba Kashak, Captain.
Which one you want first?
Go ahead, Mark. Grab that first.
First John chapter 4 verse 18 says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love.
So if you fear, you're not made perfect in love. And the scripture just said that fear hath torment. When you're dealing with fear, it torments you. Just like we're reading about these men right now. They're going through hell. Meanwhile, on the outside lens, nothing is even happening. You don't even see nothing. But they're going through hell because they got that fear. And they don't even know, or they don't even understand that reason can get them out of this situation. What do we see as reason? We see reason as the Most High God. We see reason as his law, statutes, and commandments. We see reason as his only begotten son. We see reason as that. We don't fear in nothing. Grab me Psalms 118 and 6.
You still want this, Sirach?
Should be it. Yeah, hold that real quick. Psalms. That should be it.
Chapter 118, verse 6. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me?
The Lord is on my side.
Let's go.
Why in the hell am I finna fear? What am I finna fear what man can do unto me? What am I finna fear about anything when the Lord is on my side? If the Lord is on my side, he can heal me of any sickness. If the Lord is on my side, he can save me from any battle. If the Lord is on my side, he can save me from anything. He can save me from me.
Let's go.
So why would we fear? But guess what? The Lord wasn't on these men's side. So they have everything to fear. When the Lord is not on your side, you have to fear everything. You have to fear that squirrel, because that squirrel can knock you off. You have to fear that drive home, because that drive home can knock you off quick. You gotta fear literally air, because COVID can get you. You gotta fear everything when the Lord not on your side. But if the Lord on your side, you got reason, you got understanding, you have love. You know. Mahar, you wanted to grab something?
God, this is Romans chapter 8, verse 31. What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
God, that's playing upon tables. That's playing upon. If God is for us, who can be against us? What can be against us? Nothing.
I got one.
Literally. Go ahead.
God, this is Second Timothy chapter 1:7. It says, "For God have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind."
God, He given us the spirit of love and power and a sound mind. So if the Most High God doesn't give us fear, where in the hell is this fear coming from?
Perfect.
This is coming from the left hand side. I don't need to be dealing with this fear. Why am I fearing? I shouldn't fear nothing. I shouldn't fear a thing. DeBar, can you grab that Cyrac for me, Baba Gasha? Now remember, the
You,
scripture said, fear hath torment. Remember that. Go ahead.
you say 20 and 31?
30 and 23. Cyrac 30 and
Oh,
23.
30 and 23. God, this is Sirach 30 and 23. It says, "Love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow from thee, for sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein."
So sorrow and fear, they go hand in hand. Because you're normally sorrow for something that you fear. That's normally what you're in sorrow about. Something that you fear and is tormenting you. That's why it says, love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. You're supposed to comfort your mind. And then what the next verse says? It says, remove sorrow far from thee, for sorrow hath killed many. A lot of men take their own lives for sorrow, for fear. This, that, and the third. You're not supposed to be that man nor woman, nor child. It's a lot of children killing themselves. You're supposed to remove that far from you. It says, and there is no profit therein. There is no gain from that. Sorrow, there is no gain from that. Fear, there is no gain. Show me the gain fear gives you. There is no gain. There is no profit. There's nothing that you can receive out of fear but fear and torment. If you want to torture yourself, then that's fine. You be in fear. I don't want to go through that though. Go ahead, Mar.
Disclaimer: there is a righteous fear, and that's fearing the Most High God. Period.
Oh yeah, of course. I
I
get
won't,
yeah. I know you talk to the people though.
anything else. We not fearing that, literally.
Hey,
Right.
hey, and another one too is Aharon, you be bringing out in the law. Like if a man get afraid, you know how he can make everybody else afraid, like it's a disease.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot the precept it was, man, but that would be a good precept, man, for real. Like, it's like a disease, man. You being afraid, you can cause somebody else to be afraid.
Let me see if I can find it. I think it's in Deuteronomy
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, it was in Deuteronomy. I just didn't know where.
Let me see.
I feel like
But
it's
is
13.
let me see. Because it's going along the lines of if
Was
a
it
man or if an officer is in fear, send him home. If y'all finna go out to war and an officer is scared or any man is scared, send that man home.
All right, I got it.
Con, go ahead.
God, this is Deuteronomy 20 and 4. I'm gonna start at 4. It says, "For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you." It says, "And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there have built a new house and have not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that have planted a vineyard and have not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in battle, and another man eat of it." Let me get the point.
Verse
I
Verse
think it's
8.
Yeah, 8. It says, "And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint hearted? Let him go and return into his house, lest his brethren's heart as well faint as well as his heart."
So con, there it go. If you fearful, that's gonna pass on to the next man. Fear is nothing but a demon. It's gonna pass to the next man. You're gonna start looking at I'm gonna go say we back in the day and I'm in a war and me and Officer Mahar next to each other. And I'll be like, damn, I look at them giants. They kind of look scary over there. I don't know. I'm scared. I don't think we can win. Next thing you know, Mahar over there like, damn, you kind of right.
This brother mighty and he's scared.
Right.
That's my officer. And
Right. Right. I can't even. We for sure not gonna win.
we definitely don't have a chance.
Next thing you know, that word and that fear is just spreading throughout the camp. Next thing you know, we die in battle. Whereas if we went in with courage, we could have overtook them easily. But we already gave them the battle. They already won. As soon as they got in our head, as soon as you enter a man's mind, you won the battle. That's it.
Hey, that's why a lot of dudes before they fight, they like talking shit first to the dude. You know what I'm saying? Try to scare him first.
Yeah, for real. Because if you already beat him in his head, if I already beat you in your head and your mind, bro, I'm whooping you. You're
Yeah,
mine.
it's over with.
You're taxed. Because you already. Me and Officer Mahal was playing the game the other day. And he even said, he was like, hey, he said, I think I'm tripping because I know you got better aim than me, but I'm kind of psyching myself out. I need to just get more confidence. Because we were just playing against each other in the shooting game. And, I was messing him up. And then he was like, man, I think it's because I feel like you got better aim than me that I'm kind of losing. I'm like, yeah, bro, just grab some confidence, King. Yeah.
And you know what I start doing? I start talking shit like I was cold. And next thing you know, I start gunning them down.
Yeah, brother start. I ain't gonna say brother start winning, but brother was catching up. Yeah. He said Jake.
Jay,
All right, but let's get back to Wisdom of
13.
Solomon verse. Yeah.
Hey, that's what you ate that one up, King. Verse 13. It says, and the expectation from within being less, counteth counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment.
Kind. It says when you lack the confidence to rely on reason, you give in to the fears caused by ignorance. You give in to You got something? Go ahead.
God, it says, read the GNT for me one more time. I like how it's worded.
Kind. When you lack the confidence to rely on wisdom, you give in to the fears caused by ignorance.
When you lack the confidence, you lack the experience, you lack the wisdom, you give in to the fear of not knowing. That's why it's just a one there's a one size fit all. You can gain wisdom, you can spend a whole bunch of time on earth and gain experience, or you can put your trust in the Most High God, and that's that one size fit all. You don't have to know about you don't have to know about immaculate conception. You don't have to know all the deep breakdowns. You don't have to know about what happened in the time of Noah. You don't have to know. If you believe that the Most High God got your back, if you believe, that's that one size fit all. You don't have to know all of these deep things. Them things is very beneficial, but it is not beneficial to know all these things and not have faith, to not actually believe in the Most High God. It says, and the expectation from within being less, counted the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth torment, which bringeth the torment. Right? And if you want to answer that, you can.
No, you got it. Verse 14.
It says, but Captain,
You said what?
did you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I want to bring out a precept. Hey,
All
can
right,
you
go
read
ahead.
again the GNT? I
God.
was going to y'all slide until y'all ask me.
God. Verse 13. When you lack the confidence to rely on wisdom, you give in to the fears caused by ignorance.
Right. So what hit a nerve for me is talking about wisdom. You having wisdom, you being wise enough to know, like those Egyptians, they wasn't wise enough to know that there's nothing right there, even though they in their head they thought it was something right there. Right. So this is Isaiah 33:6. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Stability goes into stable. What keeps you stable? Wisdom should be the only thing that keeps you stable in any of the times you're going through. Right? Especially a time like that, like especially a time that we're approaching very rapidly, which we know is Jacob's trouble. It says, and strength of salvation. This should keep you strong. It says, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. So, Khan, go ahead.
Hey, that's a beautiful precept. And you elaborate on that beautifully, man. Verse 14, it says, but they sleep in the same sleep that night, which was indeed intolerable, and which came upon them out of the bottom, out of the bottoms of inevitable hell,
Go ahead.
were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions and partly fainted, their heart failing them, for a sudden fear and not looked for came upon them.
So Khan, this night where they was trying to sleep and it was intolerable, which came unto them from inevitable hell. Inevitable means you can't do nothing about it. Like the return of Yahweh, that's inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it. So this fear and this darkness was inevitable from hell. And it
I
says,
think it being unsearchable, right? Like unsearchable.
you talking about inevitable?
Yeah.
And I got the definition: certain to happen, unavoidable, a
Yeah.
situation that is unavoidable.
Okay, kind.
So kind. And it says, and they were partly vexed with monstrous apparitions, and partly fainted, and their heart failing them, for a sudden fear and not look for it came upon them. Now I'm gonna read this in the GNT because it's busting still, even in the GNT. It says they were chased by hideous forms and lay paralyzed as they surrendered themselves to the sudden, unexpected that came. Oh, it's like an unexpected fear that came over them. So once they seen that fear, they kind of they turned into a deer in headlights. It was nothing they can do, and it says the heart failed them, and they kind of died. They kind of had heart attacks out there. Heart start beating quick. Next thing you know, you got a heart palpitation, men faint, women dying, all of fear that's in their head. Now read the next verse. This is the important one.
Verse 16. So then, whosoever there fell down was straitly kept, shut up in the prison without iron bars.
So who were ever there fell down and was straightly kept shut up in the prison without iron bar. They were shut up in their own mind, kept in their own mind and trapped in their own fears. Read verse 17, because this is crazy right here.
For whether he were husbandman,
Whether he was a
or
husbandman,
shepherd, or a laborer in the field, he was overtaken and endured that necessity which could not be avoided. For they were all bound with one chain of darkness.
whether you were
Cool.
a husbandman, whether you were a shepherd, a laborer in the field, anything, king, queen, pharaoh, you fell down to this. You were overtaken and it couldn't be avoided. And they were all bound with one chain of darkness. They were all shackled up in their own mind, shackled up, hemmed up, chained.
Probably hearing the same thing.
Right, fetters of iron on them. It was they was probably in there saying, "Did you see this? Well, I seen something that was green. Well, I seen something that was blue. Well, I seen this. Well, some brothers may have seen the same thing. Some brothers may not have seen the same thing, but it didn't matter. I bet you I wouldn't be over there talking about what did you see. If I seen some crazy shit, I'd have been like, yo, I don't care what you seen. I know what I saw. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, so hey, even in when it says right here, it says verse he just read 17. It says, for whether he were husbandman or shepherd or a laborer in the field. So, overall, it's just saying like everybody getting it, like you breaking down, but even like the stargazers, the all those men that was supposed to be able to do something in a time of danger like that. We know they mind was even polluted, man. They was going through it too, man. So it was literally no hope at that time.
Hey, I think the scriptures say there is no hope for the wicked. I could be making that up, but I don't know.
I think you're talking about there's no peace for the wicked.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
Hey,
okay,
even
okay,
still,
okay.
that make perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Hey, look at the next verse. We might as well finish the chapter, actually.
Yeah, I definitely was.
Verse
Good.
18, it says, whether it were a whistling wind or a melodious noise of birds among the spreading branches, or a pleasing fall of water running violently, or a terrible sound of stones casting down, or or running that could not be seen of skipping beasts.
Mm.
That'll get me. It says, or a roaring voice of most savage wild beast, or a rebounding echo from the hollow mountains. These things made them to swoon for fear.
So, Khan, these are all the things that they were hearing. They heard footsteps of running and they couldn't see it, and it was like a beast that just went past them. They're like, "Oh my god!" And that word swoon means to faint from extreme emotion. To faint from extreme. All of this sounds and echoes and tapping and banging on the door. Imagine you sitting in your room in your house, middle of the night, pitch black, you can't see nothing, and you just hear a banging on your door, saying, "Let me in, let me in." Next thing you know, it disappeared. Next thing you know, you see the man in there. You see an apparition in there. Then you hear the banging again. You like, yo, he's right here. Who the hell banging on the door? Next thing you know, they fainted from fear.
Hey, and ain't nobody right there.
It ain't nobody right there.
Hey, you know how Jake, you know how our people is just so afraid of bugs. Imagine the bug you most afraid of. Spiders, it could be moths, it could be June bugs, it could be water bugs, it could be just imagine a swarm of them just flying at your face,
Yikes.
crawling all over your butt, but it's not even there.
Man, not to mention, hey, remember all these plagues was going on during this time. It was probably frogs everywhere, maggots and flies and a stink in the air. So you know it was hell for them. It was hell for the Egyptians. But let's read verse 20. Check this
Verse,
out.
verse 20 says, for the whole world shined with clear light, and none were hindered in their labor.
So the rest of the world were going on about their day. The sun was out. And they didn't stop working. But let's read verse 21.
Over Salakia. Another point is when you cast yourself in a spiritual prison and you bound yourself um and these unclean spirits and you kind of just unconfident, you mopey, you out of the spirit, the rest of the world is going on happy. None of these things are really even weird. This is not even a reality yet. So why stress about it? It's like it. Verse 21. Over them only was spread in heavy night an image of that darkness which should afterwards receive them, but yet were they unto themselves more grievous than the darkness.
So they were more grievous to themselves for fear than the darkness. They were more of a burden to them own selves than the darkness. And only them is that darkness and that fear was falling upon them, you know. Now remind you, this is an unavoidable darkness. This is a darkness from the Most High God. This is a fear from the Most High God. If He sends this upon you, there is no cure. The only cure is repent, fast, pray. That's about the only cure you can get. You can't get a That's why a lot of these medicines don't work. You can't get a carnal medicine for a spiritual problem. You can't slack it. You can't get you can't fix a spiritual problem with the carnal tool. You know, it just don't work.
Hey,
Go ahead.
and a perfect example for that is when we look at the Yahushua when he healed that man at the that was at the graveyard. Like they would, today's society, they would take that man to the nut house and they'd be giving him all kind of medicines trying to heal him. When Yahushua clearly showed us how to heal people like that, man. Straight up and down, man. That's how you heal people like that. You get spiritual. You get in this book, man. Allow, it don't, like the brother said, it don't always have to go to physical medicine, because that man, he was fully naked in a graveyard and he was cutting himself with stones. Esau would definitely take him to the nut house and give him carnal medicine and thinking that everything is okay when it's not, man. It's just holding them off.
Right.
Hey, check this out. This is Matthew 17 and 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed, for oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. So this man brought a lunatic unto Yahushua. Somebody crazy, somebody ready for the madhouse. Sometimes he falls in fire, sometimes he falls in water. It ain't no telling what he's gonna do. But this is how heavy that spirit is. Even the disciples couldn't remove it. The 12 could not cure him of this sickness. They had to bring him to Yahushua. Verse 18 is or when he healed him, I believe, and Yahushua rebuked the devil when he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. That's how much faith you have to have. That's how much strength and willpower you have. That's how much courage you have to stand up against these devils. Even the 12 couldn't remove this lunatic. They couldn't get this fear off this man. They couldn't get this spirit off this man. And that's how it is with some things. Like I said, this is incurable by man's eyes. But we can do all things through Christ. Of course, we know this. We know this. There is no herb for a dark fear. There is no herb for that. There is no remedy for that. You can go to sleep, but what if it pop up in your dream? Then what? Now you stuck. You either got two options: repent, fast, pray, or knock yourself off. That's the two. Repent, fast, and pray. That's all collective in one, or knock yourself off. That's the other one.
Hey, remember we brought that out in Sirach 40 last night about the man that about the dreaming, and it gets so bad that he can't even sleep, but
Yeah,
those thoughts is still bothering him. In Sirach 40, I believe it was.
yeah.
It says, and when he woke up, he realized that none of them things actually was real. It was all just a dream.
It was all just a dream. But the crazy thing is, what's going on to these people? They're awake. They're not asleep. They're awake, and this is happening to them. This was a terrible night for the Egyptians, and it will be a terrible night for the Edomites and all these nations that oppressed us and had us in captivity. It's going to be a terrible night. While they have darkness, we will have light.
Khan,
You got it, Doc.
Khan. This is Sirach chapter 30. So, like in Sirach chapter 30 and verse 21, it says, "Give not over thy mind to heaviness, and afflict not thyself in thy own counsel." So, don't give your mind over to these heavy burdens, to these things that's out of control.
You kind of cutting out. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing. Nah, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. Still can't hear you out.
Try to unmute and say something. It's crazy.
Hey, you see how you stole my photo?
Yeah, he stole my photo.
All right, right.
We hear
Bro,
you.
what is you doing? All right, I just received a phone call. It's throwing off the rhythm. But all I was saying is, don't give your mind over to heaviness. When things is too hard for you, literally, the best thing for you to do, fast and pray. Give them things to your head. If it's too heavy for your head, guess what he gonna do? He gonna give it to the Most High God. We not over here. We not put on earth to stress and to be sad and the more and just to be. No, we here to actually have a beautiful life, to enjoy and tell you the fruits of the spirit: joy, peace, love, faith, temperance. There's a whole bunch. We not here to be all of these negative spirits. We don't have to deal with them. We can take them off of us. We can pray and fast them away from us. Hey, Dale, coming.
He's doing it again. You gonna put your
Brother Famous out here. Brother getting calls. Somebody must really thought he was Jaden Smith or something. But um, just a disclaimer. When I was going over them two options, I said knock yourself off. Don't knock yourself off. I gotta tell Israel that don't knock yourself off.
You definitely had to be clear with that. He's
Israel boy,
definitely
Israel boy, they'll take that to a whole another
yeah,
level.
for real though.
Forgive me.
Yeah,
Forgive me. My sister keep calling me. Oh man. So like yeah. So I was wrapping up with the scripture. Don't add burdens to yourself. Don't inflict yourself in your own counsel. Most of the time, we're stressing about things that never even come to pass. And if they do come to pass, you know what we do? We're like, damn, that wasn't even that bad. So what's the point of stressing about it? There's no point at all. Y'all brothers got anything else? I heard you had to give a disclaimer and tell Israel not to knock themselves off.
man, I had to say don't knock yourself out because you know Israel, man, they are definitely. Well, he told me my only two options was to, and it's like, bruh, come on,
I
come
don't
on.
want to be responsible. Offer Sahara, yeah, with Sons of Jacob. That's where I'm at right now.
Hey,
Hell
bro,
no.
that's real though, man, for real. Like, especially a newbie, like, bro,
Sahara
that's
told me to kill myself.
yeah, for real. Like,
He said I had two options. I didn't want to deal with the first one, so you know
the
I didn't want
second
to
one
fast
seemed
and
a little
pray.
easy.
Yeah, second one was a little bit easier. Yeah, nah, man, don't do that. Don't. We lost a lot of brethren, um, in Israel for knocking themselves off, and it's a sad thing, man. It's sad when a lot of people can't get out of that, get out of that prison. You know, that's real sad. But that's what the gospel is for, though. The gospel is the freedom that's in the prison, spiritual and physical, man.
We're
Go
asking
ahead
for
and
freedom.
grab that.
Chapter 4, that's the spirit. Luke chapter 4, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord.
So kind. That's what the gospel is for. It's so beautiful. Blessed is the feet of the man that's coming with the gospel, because he's here to free us. We're here to get free from those things. It's not always the Most High that's putting you in the prison without iron bars. You know, a lot of the times it's Satan, it's Hashatan, it's the enemy, it's the Edomites, you know, with the propaganda and with their TV shows, this, that, and the third, with their witchcraft, with their sorcery. They can lock you up in your mind, man. You want to watch and pay attention to what you let into your holy temple. For real. That's why First Thessalonians chapter 5 says, abstain from all appearances of evil. Because you really gotta watch what you let in your temple. Because these on the left hand side, they planting seeds as well, man. We planting seeds on the right hand side. Please believe that they planting seeds on the left hand side. But that's all I got.
Captain, you got anything?
I was gonna say, hey man, that's a good point he made because you know, could you imagine like watching TV? You know, like we all do. We watch TV and we wish that we had that. We wish we did that. You can put yourself in a prison doing that too, man, because you know some of that stuff you don't need, but you know you feel like you should be there, and you start to stress yourself out, man. Hey, I do got a precept though. I want to bring this out. So this is Sirach chapter 6 and 2. It says, "Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart." So basically, don't think of yourself as somebody that, you know, like pride, man. You having pride. You thinking you supposed to be here, but the Lord got you exactly where you're supposed to be. So it says, "Extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart." This is your mind. What you thinking? It says that thy soul may be torn in pieces as a bull straying alone. That's talking about you being miserable, man. You know how certain people they do let's do certain things, and you can tell they miserable about what they doing, man. You can look at the misery on some people, man. It's not hard to see, and that just like being fearful is a disease, man. Misery loves company. So be careful for that, man.
Can you get 1 Corinthians chapter 15?
God,
Man,
this is
this was
first.
a beautiful lesson.
It was.
You say 15 and what?
I'm here. I got it.
All right.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
God. So, like every time we end the Sabbath class or any class in general, usually we exhort our brothers to be steadfast, to be unmovable, not to toss to and fro with every doctrine that comes in the wind. We believe on what we believe on, and we always try to do the work of the Lord. The work of the Lord isn't strictly teaching your people on live streams, on highways and byways. Doing the work of the Lord is loving your people in righteousness, serving the Most High God in righteousness. That's how you do the work of the Lord. And we abound in it, and we try and really get addicted to this stuff because we know that we receive a reward, man. All of these things is being documented. Your thoughts are being documented. So let's get it, man. Let's stay in the spirit this week, man. We're gonna rest up this Sabbath and get ready for another week, man. Sirach chapter 43 and verse 30 says, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as you can, for even yet will he far exceed. And when you exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. And with that, we're going to give all praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah. Like General Hezekiah always say, never forget, death to America. Shalom, Wabarakatuh, Shalom, Barakatam.
God, Shalom, Wabrak Mashpakah.
God.
Ah, shalom.